Hello everyone, welcome to the 4LadsHadADream podcast. My name is Stevie Clifford, I'm your host, and this is part one of the Alex McLeish story. Joining us, as well as Alex, which we'll introduce Alex in a wee second, is regular host, chief sports writer over at the Glasgow Times and Herald Group, Mr. Chris Jack. Chris, how are you?
Stevie, all good, thanks. Looking forward to this one. Always good to catch up with Alex. Nice to get a chat.
Yeah, we are looking forward to it, and I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, Alex has been kind enough to join us for a second time because we had Alex on before and unfortunately it didn't record, so we spent the last few months testing him on a daily and weekly basis, and he's back with us. Alex, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. Thank you. In these kind of strange times, but here I am.
Yeah, it's great to join. It's great to have you with us, Alex. Always good to speak to you. So before we introduce you, Alex, something I wanted to ask you. There was a recent article, and I was pleased to read that you, your health, you're in very good health, and obviously you made a living out of heading the ball. That was a good article to read. And how are you feeling? You fit and healthy and all waiting to go?
Yeah, just we do. The League Managers Association in England are pretty. A big shot company, and they give medicals every year. So I was going through a routine medical, and I just got the full boona, and just to make sure that after, as I say, heading a million balls back in the day, and probably just missing as a school kid, just missing the leather balls. With the lacing on them, and then getting on to the mould masters and things like that. I don't know if you lads will ever remember the mould masters that used to be prevalent in school days. They were a kind of hard plasticky kind of ball, and if it hit you in the leg in a freezing cold day, it was absolute agony. But no, every test was fine, and obviously, things didn't work quite out for me in the recent Scotland venture, save for the qualification of the playoffs. We were in a very difficult group anyway, but that's just one of these things, and maybe I wasn't as comfortable this time around as I was the last time.
Well, when you look at the job that Steve Clarke's done and the difficulty he has, it shows you what an achievement actually making the playoffs was. So before we talk a wee bit more about your managerial career and we go into obviously Rangers and things, you had a massively successful playing career at Aberdeen. You had 3 titles, 5 Scottish Cups, 2 League Cups, European Cup Winners' Cup and Super Cup, rightly in the Hall of Fame with Aberdeen, and also with Scotland, having won 77 caps. This is a difficult question for you, I'm sure, because you had a lot of career highs, but looking back at your playing days, is there any specific moment that really stands out for you?
Well, not being a kind of prolific goal scorer always rankled with me a wee bit, because when I grew up as a kid, I was a striker, then a midfielder. I scored goals throughout my career. But so I guess, scoring in my Cup final in 1982 was a big thing for me, albeit it was against Rangers. But that to score a goal in a cup final would probably is one of the highlights. But when you look at the really important goals, then I would say that the Bayern Munich one that in the quarter final of the Cup Winners' Cup, which kind of helped to see us through to the final itself, the semi-final, then the final itself. And so I guess some of the moments that I've had as a player were probably resulting in goals that I scored rather than last minute clearance off the line or some, which that's how we made our name as defenders, and as I said earlier, heading a million balls.
You had 77 caps for Scotland, mostly next to Willie Miller, and we had a rich kind of kind of assortment of centre backs there. We had Alan Hansen and things as well. What's your memories of playing for Scotland?
Yeah, it was great. The very first time that I played for Scotland, I was at a function on the Sunday night in Glasgow for the Player of the Year awards, and I was in contention. John McDonald was in contention, John McDonald of Rangers, and John actually won it on a recount. So I was runner-up, unfortunately, and a little bit disappointed, but the disappointment was gone. But by the time Jock Stein approached me and said I had been named in the squad for the Wednesday game, he says, look, you're not only in the squad, you're in the team come Wednesday against Portugal. I was playing in midfield at the time, and when Jock gave me those words, then more than made up the disappointment of losing out to wee John on the Player of the Year thing. So that was me all ready to go. First of my 77 caps. If I'd only got one cap for Scotland, I would have been equally proud. But to have played 77 times is just what dreams are made of.
So quite rightly, a legend of Scottish football for Aberdeen and for our national team. But what we want to talk to you about today, and what all the Rangers fans will be tuned in for, is your time at the club. So on this episode, we are going to focus on your first half year and then your first full season, which will take us up more or less to the Helicopter Sunday years. So what we'll do is just give you a wee intro before we start this. So you obviously came to Rangers in 2001 for 5 years. During that time, you won the league in 2002, 2003 and 2004, 2005. Scottish Cup winner in 01, 02 and 02, 03. And 3 League Cup triumphs on 01, 02, 02, 03 and 04, 05. Many highlights include our 50th title. We obviously had the massive Helicopter Sunday. We had also European qualifications from the last 16. And you also were against, let's be truthful, a brilliant Martin O'Neill Celtic side. And also you were in charge of a period where Rangers were massively downsizing, all of which we'll cover. But that's kind of your highlights of massive highlights of being Rangers manager.
Yeah, I'd say that again. That sounded good.
Well, there's a lot of points certainly to cover, but on this one, we're going to talk about when you first came to us in November 2001. If
you take us back to that time, Alec, now how also Rangers not going that well under Dick Advocaat, did you always think that there might be an opportunity there for you to be Rangers manager? And could you talk us through how you actually made that move from Hibs to Ibrox?
Well, to be honest, I never thought Rangers would go down the road of a Scottish coach again. I thought that we bringing Dick into it. Then they were looking to kind of bring the elite coaches of Europe in. And it was a surprise when David phoned and said he'd got permission from Hibs. Did I fancy coming to Rangers? And his opening words in actual fact were, I bet you never thought you would get this call. And I thought, well, yeah, it's a bit of a shock. But he offered me it, and of course, no hesitation and taking on a task such as Rangers Football Club, and especially when I kind of looked at the squad and realised that the quality that was in there. Yeah, some of them were advancing in their years, but there was just so much quality there that I was just craving working with the quality of that team. I think in my previous job with Hibs, we got to amazing quality with Frank Sozzi, Russell Lappi, Mixu Pat-Line and John O'Neill and guys like that. Forgive me, Hibs players if I've left anybody out there, but we had a phenomenal, lovely football inside, and I thought I could emulate that with Rangers and obviously do more with Rangers given their resources and the expectation levels of a massive club such as Rangers Football Club.
You take over that squad. There's so many guys in there. You've got Kloss, you've got Rickson, Amoruso, Newman, obviously Barry Ferguson, like the Moles and the Boer. There's some real quality players in that squad. How do you go in and make an impact? How do you go in and kind of assert yourself? You're obviously, they've been brought in and have worked under Dick Advocat for the last couple of years. Some of them have been really successful under him. How do you go in and stamp your authority on that squad, and what do you do to make your mark straight away?
Well, I was obviously quite young in my managerial career there, and having done the stint in Motherwell, Hibs, and I felt my confidence was getting higher with every challenge, and I was pretty fearless, going in to the dressing room, getting close to the Arthur Newmans and the Ronald de Boers, Barry Fergusons, Amorusos, every one of them was big names, and I just kind of went in and tried to let them express themselves. It was more of a man management thing. Dick had phoned me and he said to me, Alec, look, I tell him once, I tell him 5,000 times. He says, I just can't do it no more, and I think you can be the man for this job, and which was amazing comments, and a pleasure to hear that from a guy as high in the game as Dick Advocat. And so I didn't want to let anybody down when I was getting that kind of endorsement. So going in there, Amoruso was out of the team. He'd fallen out with Dick, and the first thing was to try and patch it up with him. He was over in Italy getting treatment, recovering from an injury, so we were currently missing him out of the team. And I picked the phone up to him, and he said that he recognised my voice and instantly called me boss, and said, I can't wait to get back and play, and I'll give you everything. So, as I said, I'm running around in the warm-ups with the guys, the coaches, Andy Watson, Jan Wouters. We had great coaches, great backup from these guys. When I was I just sidled beside Ronald de Boer, and I started to speak about his career and recent games when he played with Ajax, a semi-final of European Cup just a couple of years before I went to Rangers, where they lost in Amsterdam to Panathinaikos and then won over there 3-0 with incredible build-up football from the goalkeeper and forward. It was just a forerunner for today's football, and Ronald said to somebody later, which get passed on to me, he says, God, I never knew the manager knew so much about my career, he was really interested. So that was the kind of way of getting about the guys. And then, of course, studying a few of the videos, I felt that they were trying to walk the ball into the net, they play the beautiful game and just get to the byline, put it across the face of the goal, tap in. And we changed a couple of things tactically, and we felt that we had to get the ball forward quicker. Yeah, not long ball stuff, but passing stuff. If there was a long pass on, then yeah, of course that was part of the scenery as well. And he just unshackled them and made we played a wee bit faster, and the results started to come good for us.
On that, Alex, when you obviously took over the league, we were well behind in the league, but we were still in Europe, and you would have some epic tussles with Feyenoord home and away. We drew one each on a very wet night at Ibrox, and then narrowly beaten out there 3-2. But it was in the league where we had one defeat in 20 games. That defeat came away to Livingston. Stuart Lovell scored a cracking bicycle kick, and I remember it quite fondly because I was actually there. And then it was a cup in the League Cup where you had an early chance to, and without sounding bad, but there were some dissenting voices in the Rangers support when you took over, in terms of maybe not a wee bit sure, and we were a wee bit worried about what was happening and things like that. But an early game against Celtic came along in February on a wet night at Hampden. Peter Lovenkrands, and I don't know if you remember, a tap-in by a certain Bert Conterman that night.
Yeah.
What do you remember of that night, and how important was that as an early catalyst for your Rangers career?
Yeah, it was massive. I remember speaking to Alex Ferguson the night before and all that stuff, and you know, one of the biggest games that I was facing in my managerial career, if not the biggest, which it probably was, and certainly, as you rightly say, I had to convince the Rangers players and the Rangers fans that I could take them to success. And in fact, one of when I went to the press conference, when I was introduced, you know, a journalist had asked, I said that you've had quite an underwhelming welcome, that kind of tone that he opened the press conference with. What do you think? And I said, well, it's up to me to change the Rangers fans' view and to get everybody on side. And I know the only way I can do that is to win football matches, because Rangers are one of the unique clubs in the world where you have to win every week. And, you know, I know that it's not been easy for Stevie Gerrard to come and, you know, play catch-up, as it were. And he's, you know, he's still doing that to some extent. But I knew that I was coming in there, and if I couldn't get the best out of the guys, then I would have known that, obviously I would have failed. But that was my goal, was to, you know, prove everybody wrong. And I've always been quite good at that. When, you know, I guess you call it Scottish resilience. I wish we didn't have to keep using that word, because it means you're kind of bouncing back all the time, you know, rather than being consistently massive threat to every other football team in the world. But that's what that was in my genes, and it is in my genes. And the you know, that adage to prove people wrong, and that I was the right man for the job. And of course, we got away to a flyer with that, as you say, that 30-yard tap-in for Big Bert for the winner. And it cemented, you know, my relationship. No, fully. There would obviously be people still saying the jury's still out, but it wasn't a bad start, put it that way.
We then go into the League Cup final, and Ayr United, who have beaten your old team Hibs in the semi-final, maybe denied you a dream final in a way of your new managerial side against your old managerial side, but perhaps avoided that scenario for you as well. But however, it was Ayr United we played, and they were quite stubborn and resilient on the day until Tore Andre Flo managed to get one just before half-time, and then we ended up 4-0 winners and the first trophy in the bag in the Alex McLeish reign. How did that feel so early on, and how are your memories of that day, and how much did you enjoy that one?
You know, again, in my head, you know, and when you're like, sometimes you waking up in the middle of the night and you're behind enemy lines, you know, and you're getting all the negatives and kind of, oh, what if this happens? What if I never beat Celtic? What if I never, you know, what if I never win a trophy? You know, every Rangers manager's won a trophy. You know, that you're kind of looking at the history. So all these things come into my head, and you know, we planned it well. We had good players. We had no reason not to win that cup in the end. Ayr United, as you say, were plucky, and they had a couple of wee chances. Stephen Kloss had a couple of good saves, and then, you know, we kind of opened the floodgates a wee bit. And to win the trophy, that was the first thing. So I thought, got that out of the road. I've concentrated solely on that, not looking too far forward. But then when we'd got that under our belt, I thought, right, now that next target is the Scottish Cup. So it was genuinely, that was the way I was thinking. I wasn't thinking away into the future that, listen, if I don't win a treble or if I don't do this, this is, I'm a failure. Let's just take it one step at a time. And we had taken those two. One was a giant one, beating Celtic in the semi-final, and we were obviously expected to beat United in the final, which we duly did in the end, and I was off and running really, and we had a pretty decent league spell right up to and obviously the run up to the final of the Scottish Cup.
Amoruso, here now is Neil McCann. Is there going to be a twist in the tail? Lovenkrands! Yes, there is! Peter Lovenkrands! It had to be him! He has surely won the Scottish Cup for Rangers!
That Scottish Cup final, Alec, will go down as that's why the best cup finals that Hampden has played host to, certainly in recent memory. How many times have you watched the Peter Lovenkrands goal at the end? And what do you think was the key for the side on that day? Now, you mentioned resilience earlier on, to go through everything that happened on that day, but still come out on top. Said a lot about that team, a lot about yourself. I said the scenes of celebration right at the end, they must live in the memory for a long, long time.
Yeah, it did, and one of the phrases we used in the dressing room was "never ever give up while you're playing in this jersey." I mean, I said that to every player and every team that I managed, every club team, and Rangers was no different. And we did go to the end of every game, and people used to say that about Alex Ferguson's teams. But you saw, I was taking some things from my Sir Alex school of excellence, and he always came out with phrases like that. And it's just a wee thing, but it's something that gets ingrained in your head. And on that day, we went behind twice, as you said, and we come back to win it with a glorious goal, just a world-class cross from Neil McCann, and Peter Lovenkrands just did that lovely habit of playing getting it through the middle and getting vital goals for Rangers. And again, with 9 seconds to go, as I think the T-shirt said at the time, 9 seconds and loving it was a wee pun on Lovenkrands' name. And
I had that T-shirt.
Yeah,
sorry to say, I had that.
I've got 100 in here if you want to buy one. And so, yeah, again, what a game! What a phenomenal game of two really high quality teams, and some incredible 22 tremendous players out on that pitch, and to triumph the way we did, and with that comeback 3 times and finally go ahead with no time left was just again. If I was ecstatic about the Ayr United game, then that one just put the United game in the boys' gate. So such was the feeling I had about not only did we win the Scottish Cup, but we beat our greatest rivals with a fantastic game in which either team could have won, but we edged it, and it was at that time of my Rangers career thinking, well, couldn't win the league, we've won the first 2 cups available, this is going swimmingly well.
Alex, I've just got a wee question on that Scottish Cup final, and because it's a memory that I have so strongly, and people ask about what's the best individual performances you've seen and things like that, but I thought Barry Ferguson was absolutely magnificent that day. His leadership, leading the team and dragging them on. I remember he hit a post from a good 30-yard drive before he scored that free kick. And I know you won't want to kind of talk about individual performances and things like that, but I'm going to put you on the spot a wee bit and ask you a wee bit about Barry Ferguson that day. How good was he?
Yeah, listen, his free kick was just glorious, and it typified the type of person he was. With the leader of the army, running forward with right at the front with the sword high up in his arms, and Barry just had that real strong mentality where he was a boy for me that not often you see this about Scottish players. Sometimes we don't have enough confidence in ourselves, but Barry Ferguson was a player who could have played in any stadium in the world and not be fazed. He had that mentality, and he had that leadership and drive. He was just a fantastic player for Rangers and for Scotland in that era.
So in the summer, Alex, having done the double, we strengthened with moves for Kevin Muscat and Mikel Arteta. What was your thinking behind them moves, and how did that set you up for the league campaign?
They were kind of on the table, I can't take credit for scouting Mikel Arteta because he was already in the system of being scouted, and David was trying to rearrange the finances a wee bit, and he said, "Look, this guy Arteta, Dick has watched him. He's Barcelona. He's on loan at PSG." And I said, "Well, listen, we don't want to waste money, and I always like to get a player seen before making a decision." And in fact, I never went personally. Andy Watson went to watch Mikel playing for PSG, and ironically, he was playing as a holding midfielder, which he came on to be. That's the kind of role that he played throughout his English career. But at that moment in time, I felt that he was a bit slight for the Scottish game and the British game. And Andy Watson came back with a good report. He said, "Look, I don't think you would like him playing as a holding midfielder." He says, the Scottish teams are on top of you. They come at you fast. And whereas in France, they all sit off and they allow you to take the ball and all that at the back and stuff. And they wait for you at the halfway line, and mostly that was the tactics in those kind of European days, in the European teams in those days. So when I saw footage and I'd studied a couple of days, and I said to David, "Look, let's go for him." I think we offset it by selling somebody. I'm not sure who left, but there was a kind of half a trade. Mikel cost about $6 million or something, and Kevin was the same. He was put in the back of the transfer lists of to's and fro's coming to the club or leaving the club. Kevin was rated by contacts. Obviously, Craig Moore would have put a word in, but these were all done in kind of Dick's days, and but we felt it was good. It would be great cover for certain positions. Mikel, of course, I moved him, and Ronald de Boer waxed lyrical about him. Says, "This guy, he's superb. He's really energetic. He's 2 good feet." And I thought, well, maybe we can use him in an attacking role. And Andy Watson agreed, and Jan Wouters, we said definitely, because after all, we had Barry Ferguson as our kind of man who took the ball from defence, and he was the marshal of Rangers in that position for a few years, and Mikel wouldn't have worked out in that position, so we moved him to the left ahead of Arthur Newman, and he came in and played inside, and was great footballing skills. He's good feet. He was able to feed off the fantastic players like Arveladze and De Boer you know, or the Caniggia. He had unbelievable talent playing beside him, and it just made that role that he had made him an even better player than perhaps he was at that time. Because after all, when all these players left and Mikel had to be our main man in midfield, it was a difficult task for him, given that we didn't really have the strength round about him as we did in that particular first year of his arrival.
You've told me the story before, Alex, about how after the first game down at Killie, you go down there, you draw one each, and it's said to you after it in the press conference, well, that's the league over, or that's the headlines. That's the headlines the next day. That obviously certainly wasn't the case. And look, you talk us through that campaign. You go from dropping 2 points at Killie on the opening weekend to the most remarkable and memorable finish of the season at Ibrox.
Yeah. From the first game to the last, unbelievable difference, wasn't it? You know, when you think, you know, when I opened the papers that Sunday, or to be honest, I didn't really read the reports, but you know, you get everybody else tells you, and there's no slow in telling you. See, what about your headline today? You've lost the league, and I thought, wait a minute, first game in, woof, that just shows you how important it is for Rangers and Celtic not to drop points to the other clubs. And but it would be totally disrespectful to say we can just easily go through a whole season by beating everybody else, and then it's the Celtic games that matter. You know, that's, you know, I always felt that was a bit disrespectful. So, well, it was disrespectful, and we you know, we had ups and downs with the way the league went that season. But the remarkable difference between that first game and the last game, and the, you know, the way we felt on that Sunday to the way we felt on the Sunday of the last game was, you know, just night and day.
What's your memories of that Dunfermline game? Just like a frantic, manic, incredible afternoon to be involved in. What was the message to players beforehand? How do you keep your cool throughout everything, or keeping up to date with what's happening in the Celtic game, and also trying to focus on your game as well? Must have been so much going through your head for 90 minutes.
Yeah, we really emphasise the tempo and the passing, and passing fast, and no dwelling on the ball, and getting it forward as quickly as possible to the flanks, through the middle. If we could break the lines, everything that these players were capable of. And I said, if you score a goal, we run into the net, grab the ball and get it back on that centre spot, you know. And that was, you could see, I think you've seen a couple of examples of that in the game. And, you know, we just kept listening to what's happening at Rugby Park. Celtic were winning comfortably there. They missed a penalty as well. So, you know, the two teams had two marvellous results on the day, but we were unstoppable. And you know, the players took everything all the instructions to heart, and I think they executed them magnificently. Yeah, absolutely magnificently. The speed of the way the players played, we just overwhelmed Dunfermline. And, you know, we could have had more, but it took Mikel's penalty to seal the league victory, and what was just a historic day for Rangers.
Alex, how nervous were you when he was taking that kick?
Yeah, I was really surprised that Mikel was given it. You know, I think I don't know if there was a wee tussle. I can't remember back, but we would have thought it was one of the other players would taken it. Normally, we designated the penalty takers. There was always two named, and I'm sure Mikel wasn't named amongst those two. But he was so confident, and you know, I'll never forget the wee guy running away, the flailing arms, you know, the wagging the fingers and the two hands in the air, and when he scored that. but it was a very nerve-wracking moment, and we knew then that we had done it.
Well, because we had a wee bit of penalty trouble as well in the weeks running up to that. We missed a couple at Dundee, and I think we missed one at Tynecastle as well the week before in the 2-0 game. And obviously Shot had missed against Celtic and things. So we had a few penalty misses. So I remember feeling particularly nervous about that. But Alex, not only did we win the league that year, we were League Cup winners over Celtic in a Lovenkrands and Caniggia scorers that day, and then obviously the Scottish Cup final against Dundee, with Big Amoruso's header, which would turn out to be his last game for the club. That was a glorious year. The last time the club has done a treble. You go down in history as only one of the 7 times we've won a treble. How good is that a feeling to be a treble winning Rangers manager? And what are your memories of the cup finals that day? Another epic tussle with a really strong Martin O'Neill's side, and then obviously Dundee. I think we were kind of dead on our feet against Dundee a wee bit. It was a gloriously hot day. Memories of that and memories of being a treble winning Rangers manager. How good is that?
Yeah, well, obviously it was the most incredible feeling I'd ever had in my life to win the treble with Rangers, who, they were a boyhood team. When I was a professional with Aberdeen, I played for Aberdeen, and we I need to correct people on this in case they think there's massive Rangers affiliation. But obviously I was born a Rangers fan, and all my family, my dad's side are all Rangers fans. And they're still texting me every bloody week. And, being a professional, going up to Aberdeen, doing my stuff there, then coming to Rangers was the stuff made of dreams. And then to think, I'm up in that blue room with guys like Walter Smith up there, and Jock Wallace, all these legendary names of the past. And is Dick as well, and these it's hard to bloody speak about that and say that you actually done that, but it was just a feeling that nothing could better. And then of course the downside is when you lose games with Rangers, and then the hurt and the pain that you feel. But on that particular season, then as you said, we started Amoruso's last game. We started to lose a lot of players, and then you feel the pain of when it doesn't go so right. But nobody can ever take that away from us. We did that treble, deservedly so. It was a brilliant team, and as you say, we're running a bit empty on the Dundee game. We totally deserved the treble that season. I've no doubt about that.
So from that, Alex, the final part of this programme and episode 1 of your time at Rangers, that summer we really do feel the pinch. We lose Ferguson, Newman, McCann, Contman, Amoruso, and it's basically, with no disrespect to anyone, we're having to kind of shop around the free transfers and things. Was that a massive surprise to you in terms of the downsizing, or was it, well, this is what I've been told, this is what I've been warned, but surely no team could have survived losing that magnitude of players?
Yeah, that when I was at Motherwell, I had a really good first season, and I thought, right, this management lark is bloody easy. But then, the next season was very similar to what happened to Rangers. I lost Chris McCarr, Krivokapic, the Tommy Coyne was gone, Paul Lambert went was one of the first Bosmans. Rab McKinnon went as a Bosman. We lost about 7 or 8 players from that actual starting 11, and that's when I really realised about what recruitment was all about, because I tried to bring players into Motherwell, and I thought, well, there's a great young player at Spurs, and a Scottish lad. He looks very like his movement, very like Tommy Coyne. But of course, when you bring him into the big action, then you realise he's not got the experience of Tommy Coyne, or the nous of Tommy Coyne, and the prowess in the penalty box of Tommy Coyne. And it wasn't John Hendry, his name was, but there was a lot of, and he was just a young kid, and to carry that burden of being the new Tommy Coyne and guys like that, well, that's very similar to what happened to Rangers at that time. And we downsized. As you say, Amoruso went, Fergie went, a host of players went. Arthur chucked it for some reason. He could still play now. The shape he's in, Mikey Moles, they were all away, and it was a rebuilding job. But the problem was, it was a rebuilding job within 5 or 6 weeks in the summer, and when you don't get the preparation done right, then you often face the punishment for that. And we certainly, had a very disappointing season after winning a treble, which didn't go down well at all with the Rangers fans. Okay, so that is the end of the first part of the Alex McLeish story. A very enjoyable chat about his time in charge with a first double, and then obviously the treble years. When he come back on the next episode, we're going to have a look at the 2004-2005 season. Very memorable in terms of Helicopter Sunday, League Cup triumphs, etc. So I hope you can join us for that. I'd like to thank co-host, regular guest, Mr. Chris Jack, for joining us. Chris, thanks very much. No problem at all, Stevie. Great to be on as always. And obviously to the main man himself. It's not often we get somebody of the calibre of Alex McLeish on the show, but it's been a real privilege. Alex, thanks for joining us. Hey, great guys. I'm honoured to have been at Rangers and done what we've done. Thank you, Alex. So, just a thank you to our regular host, Gersnet, for hosting us. Stuart Franklin does a lot of work on this. He'll edit this and make us sound good. And also a thanks to our sponsors, Kerry's Crazy Costumes and the Custom Kitchens guys. They are all their information is available on our website at 4LadsHadADream. Please come and have a look at that. And until next time, hope you'll join us for the Alex McLeish story part 2. It's going to be a cracker. Helicopter Sunday, always enjoyable time. But until then, please ignore the nonsense, the irrelevant, and the noise.